The country of India is one of the largest on the planet, and it holds behind it several millennia of history defined by various people and religious groups, who have contributed to shaping India into the country that it is today. Naturally, with so long and diverse a history across such a large expanse of land, it is to be expected that various unique geocultural regions would emerge within India, defined by their distinct geographies, economies, cultures, histories, and lifestyles. And in fact, unlike the United States, India has actually done a particularly good job of subdividing its lands to account for many historic and cultural distinctions to provide a high level of regional autonomy to its several populations. We've already covered the geocultural regions of Russia and the United States before, but India will be a unique undertaking, as Russian history east of the Urals is relatively young, as is the cultural history of the United States as a whole. And as such, the influence of natural geography can overshadow the human impact in large portions of these countries. With so old a history, India's geocultural regions like China will see culture feature more prominently in the shaping of more nuanced and varying identities across the country, but once again, India's pre-existing provincial borders offer an excellent starting point to build off of, allowing us to concentrate more on the economic and geographic boundaries of each region. Hello audience, Mr. Z here with another video for you. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We have videos like this every week, so be sure to subscribe and stay tuned. But hang on just a second. Do you have a debt problem? It's one of the chief troubles facing Americans today, young Americans especially. Yes, a lot of you watching right now might be struggling with this very problem, and today's sponsor, PDS Debt, is here to help. It's one thing to dig yourself a hole and an entirely new problem to get out, but PDS Debt is here to lend a helping hand, giving you options to consolidate your debts into a low monthly payment to finally wipe this burden out in a fraction of the time. PDS Debt is a top-rated company with an A+ ranking from the Better Business Bureau, and they might just give you a chance to save thousands in interests and fees. Right now, PDS Debt is offering an absolutely free assessment for everyone who follows the link below and visits pdsdebt.com/Mr. Z. The process is quick, and if you're struggling with debt right now, you can't afford to miss out on this opportunity. Now, back to the video. The first of India's regions is its largest by population, a region we'll call the Gangetic Plain, straddled between the Himalayas to the north and the Deccan Plateau to the south. The waters of the Himalayas source several rivers that feed the lush plain lands, terminating in the Ganges Delta in West Bengal, which, along with its warm climate, makes this region particularly fertile and the heart of India's agriculture, colloquially known as India's rice belt, though it also raises significant quantities of wheat, jute, sugarcane, and more. The region's bountiful crop production has contributed to its large population, though this being said, the region is among India's lesser developed regions, with lower levels of infrastructure, education, and individual wealth, which might be expected from a largely rural region. The region is predominantly Indo-Aryan, housing a variety of Indo-Aryan ethnicities, languages, and dialects, the largest being Hindustani, occupying much of the region and especially the state of Uttar Pradesh. Hindi, of course, serves as the unifying language of the region with the exceptions of Bengal and Punjab. Subregions include homelands for the Bhojpuri, Maithili, and Bengalis to the east, with West Bengal being notably more urbanized as well. And to the west we have the far more urbanized and densely populated Delhi metro area and the largely Punjabi and religiously Sikh population of Punjab in the northwest, as well as the inland and elevated Greater Malwa Plateau fed by its own string of rivers and serving as the hub of India's soybean production along with other agricultural staples. North of the Gangetic Plain we have the Himalayan region, a harsh and rugged environment characterized by towering snowy mountains and deep valleys. The Himalayan region was once one of the lowest performing regions in all of India, but has come to stand as one of the highest ranked on the Human Development Index, with an above average GDP per capita, higher levels of education than other regions, and higher life expectancy. That being said, the region is notably underpopulated compared to the rest of India. The region is famed for its agricultural, pharmaceutical, and energy generation sectors, with its agricultural field concentrating particularly upon fruit and vegetable cultivation. This region is the greatest contributor to India's hydroelectric power generation sector, which, given its relatively small population, makes it a proportional powerhouse in the country. It too largely speaks Hindi, though its subregions do feature languages of their own, these subregions including the largely Buddhist and Islamic Tibetan-influenced Ladakh and the largely Muslim Kashmir. To the far east is the Greater Brahmaputra Valley, or the Seven Sisters region. The heart of the region is the Assam Valley, home to the Assamese people, who speak the Assamese language, and who are surrounded on nearly all sides by mountain ranges inhabited by varying populations speaking other languages of their own. The Assamese Valley has a temperate climate which makes it ideal for its staple economic sector of agriculture, particularly tea production, standing at the forefront of India's tea industry, not to mention holding a predominant spot among resource-extracting regions, most notably when it comes to petroleum. Subregions include the Purvanchal subregion, a largely mountainous area inhabited by various Tibeto-Burmese populations largely of Christian background, the Arunachal subregion, a mountainous and highly diverse land insofar as ethnicity, linguistics, and religion, housing various Tibetan and Thai populations among others. There is Tripura, an ethnically Bengali but religiously Hindu subregion further distinguished by its plains and lower hill country, Sikkim, a predominantly mountainous and ethnically Nepalese state, and the Meghalaya subregion, a heavily forested, Christian, and largely Austroasiatic and Tibeto-Burman region which experiences the highest levels of rainfall not just within India but on the entire planet. To the far west we have the region of Greater Rajasthan, a broadly arid and in some areas highly inhospitable region. It has a largely agricultural and resource extraction based economy with hydrocarbon extraction featuring prominently as the region is India's most productive oil producing region, not to mention also featuring a near monopoly over the source of other valuable mineral resources like zinc, jasper, marble, and fluorite. The core of Rajasthan is engulfed by the Great Indian Desert, and while it is one of the more economically productive regions in all of India, it features a relatively low level of development and a below-average GDP per capita within its core area. Subregions include the Kathiawar Peninsula, particularly the coast along the Gulf of Combat, as aside from speaking its own language, it is on this peninsula that we find the highest concentration of settlement and development in the region and a highly industrialized and diverse economy, specializing in textiles, pharmaceuticals, and manufacturing. The subregion of the Kutch Peninsula to the north is also distinguishable by its language and unique flooded grassland and savanna environment. Directly south of Greater Rajasthan, we have the region of Maharashtra, largely corresponding to the presently existing province of the same name. Historically the core of the Maratha Empire and still a region which overwhelmingly speaks Marathi, over time the center of power has shifted from the interior to the coast, with the city of Mumbai serving as not only an economic hub for the region but all of India. Standing as a major center of Indian tech, commerce, communications, and manufacturing, it is truly an economically diverse region and easily one of the wealthiest both in productiveness and individual wealth. The coast is largely tropical and fairly covered in forest, separated from the drier interior by the Ghat mountain range, and while geographically there is a noticeable distinction between the tropical coasts and the more arid interior, there is also a strong degree of cultural and economic continuity between the hubs of Mumbai and Pune. Though if we really needed to, we could separate the interior into its own subregion. Excluding that option, this region has only one other subregion in the form of Goa, which ranks close to if not at the top spot for per capita GDP and development. It's distinguishable by its particular recreational economy, language, and history as a colony of Portugal. Moving deeper into the interior is the Northern Plateau region, India's hub of resource extraction and mining. Its core extends across the provinces of Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, and interior Odisha, housing a large chunk of India's coal belt within this core region, along with several thermal power plants. The region is largely mountainous, though of course nowhere near as much as the Himalayas. It is largely forested and relatively underdeveloped, virtually making it an Indian parallel to America's Appalachia. Subregions include the coastal lands of Odisha, whose economy is naturally more concentrated on fishing, port commerce, and industry. There are also the lands further into the interior, largely following the Vindhya mountain range, also demonstrating richness in resources but also being more distinctly Hindustani than the rest of the diverse core region. Further south in the interior we have the Southern Plateau region, a largely arid and steppe region characterized by the distinct concentration of thorn scrub forests. Despite the relatively harsh environment, this region is home to a handful of tech hubs which make the region India's center for information technology development. The Southern Plateau is the first region to distinguish itself from all previously mentioned regions by not being a predominantly Indo-Aryan region, but rather our first Dravidian region, the region primarily speaking Kannada, while its Telangana subregion speaks Telugu, and is characterized by a distinct dry deciduous forest environment which differs from the thorny shrub lands of the rest of the region. Finally, we have the southern region of Tamil Nadu, another Dravidian-speaking region and another large and diverse economic hub that features a variety of sectors, much like Maharashtra, albeit with a particularly prominent automobile manufacturing and textile industry. Naturally, Tamil is the dominant language of the region, with its coastal subregions of Kerala and the coast of Andhra Pradesh speaking Malayalam and Telugu respectively. Geographically, the region has a fairly diverse landscape that ranges from tropical to semi-arid across various areas. It is one of the most productive regions in all of India and generally ranks above average in per capita GDP and development, though the western coastline of the sub-region of Kerala stands far and above its eastern neighbors in overall development and individual wealth. Additionally, there are the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, which, by nature of there being a chain of about 800 islands varying in size and composition, constitute a unique region of their own. And there we have the regions of India. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below if there are any changes or adjustments that should be made. Like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more. Mr. Z, out.